Rise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for our monthly Patreon one-shots. And if you like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is over on our Patreon, like all of these fine folks here. Link in the description down below. And if you're joining us over on the YouTubes, just type !Patreon in the chat and it should pop up. That being said, we're here. We have some things going on. Click on that link in the Discord. Click on that link for the Patreon. Click on that link for the Discord. Join us over there. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, I unleash corruption on these wonderful players. And two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel for cool things like lights and new equipment and building an office and hiring editors and all that fun stuff. With that. This is our second time trying to run this one shot. Our setup exploded last month, so we are running a brand new one shot for a new tabletop system that I'm working on. An entire new TTRPG that is currently codenamed Project Babysitter. I don't have a lot of specifics for it. Right now, we are using the rules for Tales from the Loop. That will not be the final rules for this system, but it will be a year zero system. So this is just sort of a proof of concept to see how this works, to see how this plays, and to see if everything sucks. If the system, if the idea of the system is terrible. So you know, just fun little things like that. That being said, let's jump in to my little introduction that I wrote. This is where you would hear, like, the Twilight Zone music play in the background. There exists a world...
We don't have the money. Donate.
That's true. Yeah, we don't have the money to buy... you know what? Hit that corruption bar. We will fund a resurrection of Rod Serling to come out here. We'll paint him black and white. He'll smoke an old-school cigarette, no filter, and he will read this in future sessions. However, until then, there exists a world beyond what we can see and hear. A world we knew existed at one point or another, but have since chosen to forget. Throughout your life, you've heard stories of this world. But that's all they are, right? Just stories. Honestly, that's all anything is when you break it down far enough. Just stories. But no one stops to ask themselves what happens when those stories stop being just that and become something else. At least, no one does before it's too late. We start in a thusly unnamed town in a generic part of New England. And we start with our first player. Trevor, please introduce your character. Give us a description and a little bit of a day in the life.
Sure, I am playing Enzo Baranson. He is a 14-year-old troublemaker. He's about average height, light olive skin, definitely a lot of Italian in his heritage. He has short, spiky black hair, kind of shaved and faded up the sides. He usually wears flannel over a t-shirt, and he always looks tired. And let's go into an example of why. The camera comes into focus on a copse of trees in a small park in town. The streets are nearly devoid of other people, and a crisp, clear midnight moon shines through the branches and leaves to barely illuminate a figure crouched close to the ground. As we get closer, we see that the figure is a teenage boy, holding an ornate crisp-bladed knife and bent over a body that is in no way human. The boy scrambles around in his backpack, clearly searching for something, but as he does, the corpse starts to smolder and smoke, its strange flesh, 6 gangly limbs, and even its mouth full of teeth turning to ash before his very eyes. A moment later, the only evidence that remains is a small patch of scorched ground, and even that melts back into lush green within a few seconds. The boy sheaths the knife, pulls a small spiral notepad from his backpack, and clicks open a ballpoint pen. He flips the cover back, sighs, and marks an 18th tally mark on the page. Clicking the pen closed, he draws and expels a few quick breaths, as if preparing himself for something. A moment later, he grits his teeth, failing to stifle of pain, as his left hand grabs hold of his upper right arm. As it passes, he takes that arm out of the flannel and rolls up to the shoulder the short sleeve of the t-shirt underneath. Emblazoned there, fresh and still slightly glowing red, is the newest of now 18 tally marks burned into his flesh. Our scene fades to the interior of a small apartment, lit only by the glow of a television, until the door opens and light spills in from the hallway. The boy walks in quietly, holding a small handful of envelopes. He tosses them onto a small table by the door, and we see that each envelope bears a stamp of final notice, collection due, and so on. He walks between the television and his erstwhile observer, who is now passed out on a ratty recliner, with a bottle of whiskey still held tenuously in his hand. He takes the remote from the arm of the chair, looks down at his father, sarcastically mutters, "Boy, wouldn't Mom be proud of you?" and clicks the TV off, plunging the apartment and our scene into darkness.
Perfect. Let's cut over to to Xena LaFleur. Profo, you want to bring us in for a day in the life of Xena?
It is dusk. Towards the camera roars a '66 Oldsmobile. It'd be Pontiac Bonneville, hearse. It's all blacked out, and Xena is on her way to yet another reported haunting that she stumbled across on Instagram or something, or one of the various other presences on social media, because that is her thing. She runs a ghost hunting channel, and and her life is sort of built around the pursuit of the discovery of the truth. Her parents, 90s TV fans, hence the name, and they met in an X-Files convention. And she's been hell bent on finding the truth, and she had a strange experience with what she thinks was a coven of witches. She may not have been goth before then, but she is now.
Fair enough. And from that, we'll transition over to Clint Richards. Snow, you want to introduce your character?
So Clint Richards looks like your standard 13-year-old boy, loose ginger hair, pale skin, freckles, wearing an old and tattered scout uniform. He kind of moves into the treehouse that he has with an old backpack on, goes up to a map, picks up a pen, puts another cross on the map, and you can see that there's a series of crosses in a concentric circle from a large cross in the middle. He throws his backpack down, looks at his watch, sees that it's time to go to school, and picks up his backpack for school and slides down the tree onto his bike and takes off.
And last but not least, let's transition over to Reed Ingram. Matt, you want to bring him in?
We go to Reed, who's standing at the edge of a forest off by a local off-roading trail, walking out into the darkness of the woods from the seat of his Jeep Wrangler his mother gave him before she passed. Typing into his tablet, you see him making a count as he looks up and Reed is like a black-haired, kind of palish eyes, kind of got your typical outdoorsman look with his muddy boots, long pants, and the Jeep is caked with mud in various spaces. But as he looks out into the woods, you notice the red compound eyes looking back at him from a distance. And as Reed is scrolling through his notes, he's like, is it this one? Is it that one? And eventually he settles upon a certain particular creature of folklore that he knows, and he has even in his tablet, you see that he has a label that says number of encounters, and he ticks it up by 1 from 3 to 4.
Okay. As you all have gone about your days, your evenings, we'll start with Clint. Clint, who is on his way to school. the youngest of our quartet here. You have thrown a bag over the shoulder, and you are making your way into the actual school building. When you feel a buzzing at your side, the telltale sound of your phone vibrating in your pocket. What do you do, Clint?
Clint quickly grabs out his phone and looks. He's got various alerts set up for news information, so he's expecting something that might have cropped up that he's looking for.
You have a text message that displays across the screen. It says, unknown number. And as you swipe this open, you see a cryptic message that reads, the clock strikes the hour of dread. Innocence at stake. Meet where leaves shield from sky and wood creaks with secrets. Time is the enemy, and the ravenous shadows hunger. Act, or others will pay the price. And then below that, you see -M, as if this was signed, like a letter.
Clint sees that, immediately puts the phone back in his pocket, turns around, realizes he's going against the flow of all the kids heading into the school, tries to shoulder his way through, eventually back to his bike, jumps on his bike, and then speeds down the street.
Okay. Where is Clint headed?
Clint is heading to the location that he thinks that the message relates to.
Interesting. You know what? Snow, where do you think the message relates to? Or where does Clint think?
Clint thinks the message relates to an office, in inverted commas, or a secret meeting place where he goes and connects with like-minded people. It's an old abandoned library that the council has kind of shut down, but still is functional despite being abandoned, and he heads for that.
So this is unrelated to the game entirely. Norm often will message me his theories on games that we run here, and I often yell at him to get out of my brain because a lot of his theories are so close to what's real.
But you have to change them to make him look dumb.
No, I don't. I leave him the same. Snow has no way of knowing where the meeting place is. But I want to reveal right now that it's at a treehouse outside of a library. So fuck you, Norm. In my notes,
and we're off to a rousing start.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. I think he just hacked my computer.
Usually everyone is so resistant to plot hooks, but no, for once Norm is like num num num.
Yeah, he finds all of them. He's like cool. So you speed down the side streets headed for this old abandoned library. Where do we find Enzo on this morning?
Muted.
Yep. Yeah. So Enzo is still in bed. His alarm has been going off has been snoozed for about 20 minutes, half an hour. As he is desperately trying to remain conscious, because, well, he was out pretty late last night. We hear a gruff voice from outside of his room. Like, hey! Get your ass to school! He sighs, puts a new wrap of bandage around his upper right arm, throws on a black t-shirt with the name of the band Carnivorous Baboons, throws a flannel over it, grabs his backpack from the floor right by the door to his room, walks out, not quite storming out, but definitely with purpose. He grabs a granola bar from a little glass dish on the kitchen table, grunts a bye, to his father and leaves.
Okay. Now, as you grab your keys and phone to leave the house, there's an almost 1999 Matrix moment where as soon as you pick up the phone, it buzzes in your hand as if timed by fate.
Right.
You too see that there is a text message from an unknown number, not blocked, and it reads: "The clock strikes the hour of dread. Innocence at stake. Meet where leaves shield from sky and wood creaks with secrets. Time is the enemy and the ravenous shadows hunger. Act or others pay the price." And it is signed M.
Could I get that like written out somewhere?
Yeah, of course you can.
Awesome, thank you.
Oop, there you go.
Thank you. So, do I know anything about what goes on at the library as the meeting place?
Sure.
Kind of thing.
If you'd like to, if you think you'd be involved in this library that Norm made up, you can absolutely be.
So I think I've probably had some dealings with them. We've worked together, if not necessarily comfortably, on a couple of hunts. My methods are usually a bit too brutal for them. They like to try to, study them first. I say, no, wipe them off the face of the earth, every single fucking one. So I look at it and go, what are they up to now? He reaches out, he texts a message to the school nurse, who he actually does have the number for because this happens regularly. Going to be late, feeling down again, need a note, question mark. I'm actually going to change this and make the school nurse my anchor.
Okay. You get a response of everything. No. Period. Everything okay? Question mark.
Don't know yet.
The response is, "I'm here if you need anything."
TY.
And then where do you head?
I am getting on my bike. I got my backpack over one shoulder. Breathes a heavy sigh, shakes my head. I shake my head, and I head off to the library.
Okay.
Because even if I don't necessarily want to work with them on this, they are probably the best source of information for what it means, if it means anything dubious.
Fair enough. We cut over to Reed. Reed, you were headed over to your truck, and departing for parts unknown.
I'm gonna have to retcon you, Mike.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Reed is already at the school, legs up in his driver's seat, feet on the dashboard, waiting at the school parking lot.
Fair.
Going through his tablet.
Hell yeah. So as you are feet on the dash, sort of reclining, you see the throng of people headed in towards the school as you are scrolling through the latest, what is essentially tabloids and like old school forums for cryptids and things on your tablet. And you see a ding message come across the screen from like, a cloud, and a message comes across, and it says unknown sender.
He just kind of looks at it, rolls his eyes, opens it, and already assuming he already knows this message, he'll skim through it.
Yep, you see the same
maybe
message.
Read half of it.
You see that just like. You see that same message that reads: "The clock strikes the hour of dread. Innocence at stake. Meet where the leaves shield from the sky and wood creaks with secrets. Time is the enemy of the and the ravenous shadows hunger. Act or others pay the price." Signed, M.
Reed puts the tablet down, feet down onto the clutch, and before he takes off, he pulls up his phone and calls his uncle, who happens to be the assistant principal. That's my anchor.
Perfect. The phone rings, and on the third ring, it is picked up, and it says, "Hello, generic school."
Hey, Uncle, it's Reed.
Hey,
Having
buddy.
engine troubles. I'm gonna be a bit late today.
No, I absolutely understand. I'll mark you here, and we need to get this truck fixed there, buddy. This is your 14th absence this year.
Wow, you're giving me smirk, even though I'm the top 10%?
I'm just saying, once you hit 20, regardless of nepotism, the truancy officers automatically get brought in.
Yes, sir.
All right, do what you can, and if you can get here by noon, I can cross this off the mark.
All right.
And he hangs up the phone, and where do we see Reed head off to?
As soon as the phone hangs up, you hear the shifter go in and the roar of the engine hitting hard reverse.
Okay. And are you headed towards this library as well?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. And then we cut over to our last character, but not least. Xena, where do we find you this morning?
Gina will be driving to school, but I think the first and the second bell have both happened. She's just leaving the house for the sake that, her father, so that her father knows she's left the house.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you leave the hearse in the driveway, people notice it.
You know? So you make your way to the school, and as you are en route, you have I assume you have your phone clipped into some sort of dashboard thing. And as you're driving and the song changes, you note that you have a pending text message waiting for you. It seems to have been from several minutes ago. You must have missed its alert.
She'll just say Elvira Reed because that's what her CarPlay responds to.
Perfect. And in an AI representation of Elvira, Mistress of the Night, it reads out, "The clock strikes the hour of dread. Innocence at stake. Meet where leaves shield from sky and wood creaks with secrets. Time is the enemy and the ravenous shadows hunger. Act or others pay the price. Signed, M."
I'm not exactly a James Bond fan. It's with the M reference. She'll reach up and the red sirens go on. Handbrake turn into the opposing lane of traffic, leaving half a tire on the asphalt.
Perfect. And where are you headed?
Somewhere quiet, somewhere to work out. Somewhere to work out this message. So probably the parking lot behind the old library, if you can get into it still.
Perfect. Yeah, as plot would have it, there's apparently an abandoned library in town. It's
the case of what would Buffy do? Go to the library. See, positive example.
I just want chat to know that the generic high school answering phone has spawned several comments in our in our Zoom chat here, to include the name Genericsburg, also Quaintsville, which is inside Genericsburg in New England, and John Q. Doe High School in Normalton.
I love it.
And I am copying and pasting all of these into a document. Oh, Christ. So, Xena, let's say you are the last to arrive here. You see a truck parked in this parking lot. As your hearse pulls up, you see a bicycle sort of tossed over on its side. And what is Enzo's mode of transportation?
He has a 10-speed bike built for going off-road.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice, big, thick tires, as many safety features as he can legitimately get away with. But it is still a manually powered bike.
Okay. As all of you arrive at your various times, you are treated to the same abandoned library, which looks basically like a non-abandoned library, just with the lights turned off. None of the windows are broken. It's a municipal building, so there are, police patrols every once in a while that sort of keep the riffraff off. There are a few small tags on the side of the building, but you do note that the front and back door have a large chain locking the door closed. Although if you're small enough, you could probably press the door open and sort of edge your way into them. However, you do all see there is a large, several hundred-year-old oak tree that sits out in the center of the green in front of the library. In that, there is a massive, probably a house in today's market, like 100 or so, if not more, square footage treehouse in this massive oak. I saw your brain trying to puzzle out how 100 square foot treehouse would work. It works.
Giant redwood. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of scaffolding.
It's the Quaintsville preserved giant redwood, and it has oaks at all corners.
It's held up by plot.
We just need to believe together.
Plot some special brand of plywood that about made
Marine
locally.
ply.
So you see bits and like edges and pieces of this treehouse sort of sticking out. It's not square. It's definitely like strangely shaped. There seems to be a second floor to this place. But you see it sticking out. There is a rope ladder that has extended down from this place. And other than breaking into the library, that appears to be your only option. As the four of you sort of gather in the parking lot, what are the four of you doing?
Okay, so I'm assuming that Enzo and Xena have met mainly through the ghost hunting channel. We know each other. We haven't really interacted much, but we know of each other. Reed, I'm probably guessing is I think of him as the assistant principal's nephew. And that's all. I don't think I know Clint at all. So, what order do we show up in?
It would be Clint first, then Enzo, then Reed, then Xena.
Okay.
Yeah, and your conversation, however, whatever stage it's got to, would have been interrupted by the wail of Ghostbusters style sirens. Because
if you ask me, I think Enzo and Reed probably would know each other because Reed is the guy who wants to study the monsters, while Enzo's the one, so they'd be frenemies.
Yep. Okay.
That works.
So is Clint already up in the treehouse, or where is Clint right now?
No, Clint would be, being the youngest, absolutely takes charge and waits for people to arrive. And as they arrive, he just nods and says, upstairs.
So Enzo rolls up, actually does go through the motion of chaining his bike.
Just put it next to the coffin.
Yeah. UM?
N-O, upstairs.
He gives Clint a very, very judgmental eyebrow and then heads up the ladder. Once he's up in the actual treehouse, he is taking out and kind of doing finger spinning tricks with the crisp blade.
Yeah, Clint just waits at the bottom for anyone else that might show up.
From behind the school building comes the rumbling of the V8 from an old Jeep Wrangler. Right.
Yeah. Clint just watches you pull up, kind of rolls his eyes a bit because someone's obviously compensating for something, and waits for you to get out, and then just points upstairs.
You know, it's the old like 90s Jeep Wrangler, but the roofs are like, and everything's modular, so the doors are already removed, the roof's removed, it's just the roll bar. Love those. Reed hops out and walks up, kind of gives with the tablet in hand, kind of gives a glance at Clint.
Clint just taps his watch. Lies are at stake. Did you get the message?
I'm assuming you did too, if you're here.
Yep. I think we're wanted upstairs.
Honestly, I kind of don't like trees. Oh well. How the heck this is structurally sound, I never know. Plot supply makes some really good wood.
It's better not to think about it.
Reed climbs up and opens the hatch and sees Enzo at the top.
Ingram.
Berenson.
Enzo pauses just momentarily in the spinning of the knife, and then goes back to doing it even more deliberately.
How well are you hiding those bandages, by the way?
He has a long sleeve flannel over his t-shirt, so there's probably a little bit of a bulge, but he goes out of his way to hide it. That sounded so wrong out of context.
I would
but you know
honestly
exactly
like to roll. I would like to roll against you to see if I notice, but I know Mike's doing something, and I wouldn't even remember what the
right
roll
ahead.
was.
It would be investigate versus
Sneak.
Yeah, sneak. That's the one. I couldn't think of the word.
Just throwing out bonuses.
2. Oh no, that's 2 for you. Never mind.
Mm.
1.
I just barely beat you out there.
Yep.
As you look at Reed, he kind of gives a kind of angles a bit and side eyes your arm, and with the kind of a sigh, he says, "Out hunting again."
It's the only way to find the one I want.
Reed pulls up the hands on the tablet and just he's like, "Find which one it was."
He takes it, scrolls through. I can't imagine this is the first time they've done this dance.
It isn't.
So he just scrolls back until he gets to the ones that he knows he's seen before. Still not. But
the one that you killed.
Oh. It is the triple-fanged Dargon.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Dang. That one's a bit rare, isn't it? I've only seen them 5 times.
Even more so now.
And there's a small note appears with killed 1 popping up.
And the next person to arrive, I believe, is Xena, correct?
Yeah, your bromance is interrupted by the wail of 1960s style sirens as found on Ecto 1. And at the top of the ladder is hurled a backpack in the shape of the handbook for the recently deceased, and fingerless gloves, immaculate black nails, pull her up. Why the fuck does it have to be up here? No Kingsmen style basement for us.
Honestly, I'd rather just break into the library at this point.
Oh, Xena drags and sits with her ankles and huge new rocks dangling from the ladder, and she pulls out a key and throws it to you. I changed the padlock a while ago. They never check.
He just kind of lands on the floor.
You
You didn't need to throw that.
What can I say? She holds up her hands, you know, kind of studded in various Gothic rings. I'm a little dramatic.
Is the little kid gonna climb up here? Or is he just gonna stand down there all day?
I thought he was up here.
Clint, you are the last one. It doesn't seem to be as though anyone else is coming.
Yeah. If it looks like no one else is arriving, he scurries up the stairs, up the ladder.
Okay. The four of you arrive inside of this treehouse. It seems as though you've all been here in some way or other before at that point in time, and you see a strangely shaped, almost Hoovian treehouse here before you. There are large branches that sort of protrude into this place. There's like insulating foam between the wood and the tree branches to sort of form a seal, and you see that the tree branches that do cut through are stripped clean of bark, and on the rafters that make up the roof of this place, and on the trees themselves are esoteric symbols and runes and things that you have all encountered in various times across any of your studies into the strange.
Well, at least I like their decorator.
Yeah, you see in the center of the main floor here is a large cable spool, and like large, I mean like the kind that they use to like pull in the buoy ropes at the ocean, right? It's this huge. It's probably like 4 feet in diameter, and it's toppled on its side, so it makes as a makeshift table. And scrawled across the table is a large map. There are sticky notes. There's a little notebook that's empty there. There's a Swiss Army knife sort of stuck into one side of it. You see there are small shelves with like strange books on them, and newspaper articles or clippings are scattered around this table. What are you all doing?
So I see this and I look at Clint, and is Clint surprised by this, or was he expecting it?
If he was surprised, he's definitely not showing it.
Okay.
He's probably already reading the news articles and trying to understand the mission.
So in that case, I'd look from the table to Clint, say, "Your handiwork?"
No, this isn't my forte.
Right. Well, let's see who's on the menu. And I will go over and look over it with him.
Yeah, you see, this place has a large like carpet in the center here. There's a couple of like a high winged chair. There's a couple of folding chairs sort of scattered around. You see that there are a couple of like workbench tables with like an Erlenmeyer flask and a beaker with some sort of simmering liquid on a hot plate. And you see circled on the map, which you recognize immediately as a map of Quaintsville, and you see a sticky note taped next to it that says 237 Whispering Pine Lane. And as you look at this, you see there are a dozen or so news articles that have all been clipped out that are both the essentially the before and after of a child has gone missing, and then about 2 weeks later, another article that are sort of paperclipped together. Police have stopped the investigation. If you have any news, et cetera, call this number. 1-888-555 lost.
What's this? The old spook house?
Yeah.
The FBI, you don't even have a case on it, but in a missing persons task force.
Seems that way. These articles date back about 60 years. And there's about a dozen of them.
And you said they're all talking about that one address?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if they don't mention it, they mention the street, or like you'll see that like they disappeared in the neighborhood of, last seen in the neighborhood of, last seen within the vicinity of, a neighboring street, an intersection here, neighbors on Whispering Pine Lane saw, etc. So it seems as though the guesswork has been sort of done for you, in the sense that it all points to that neighborhood, and someone, perhaps this mysterious M, has narrowed it down to one location.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Yeah. Or do we just go there and look baity?
I don't think any of us are young enough to be baits, except for, and he turns towards Clint.
First up,
Yeah.
first
Clint is just reading all the articles and completely oblivious to what you just said.
Excellent. So what, other than what is in the news clippings, do I know anything about that neighborhood? Have I gone hunting there?
No, nothing
okay.
you've seen about this place strikes you as like, you know that there's it's in the town, and there's only so much thing that happens in Quaintsville that goes unnoticed. It's an abandoned house. You're not sure who owns it. It's been abandoned for as long as you can remember. In fact, your parents know that it's abandoned. It's been abandoned for as long as they can remember. Someone must own the land, or at least the city would have come in and demolished it and repurposed it, but it seems as though someone owns that land.
Yeah, Zena's going to break out her MacBook Air from her backpack and check property records. What's it going to cost? About $10 to look it up. She probably already has unlimited lookups for property records.
Okay. Roll me and investigate.
Sure. You're talking 2.
2 successes. Yeah, easily. You already have someone else's credit card linked to some logins that pay for background searches, etc. You type in 237 Whispering Pine Lane, and you pull up images of this. And you see this dilapidated snapshot of history. The architecture of this place looks like it's a blend of colonial and Victorian, which doesn't make sense for a house. It looks like it is added on top of, and it looks like it's been abandoned since the dawn of time. Everything is overgrown. Everything is darkened and faded and water stained. And you look, and underneath everything, not hidden behind any kind of paywall, you've already purchased this. All of the information for ownership is just listed as simply private. No known telephone, no known associated email addresses, no known associated residents. Which normally, in your experience, when you look up something like this, you'll at least get, if not the current tenant, you may get several other past tenants, dating back, as long as there were electronic records, or at least town hall records. You see nothing. It's as if no one has lived here.
Either no one has lived here since they invented the internet, or someone has paid a lot of money to have this data expunged. She'll just obviously open up a tab to an American classic car forum and type out a DM. Just out of hand. What do we think? Better records inside? As in, on the lower floors?
I don't think the library would have records. You'd probably be looking for the city hall. Or we could just go and investigate.
Yeah, and get our faces eaten by some child eating shit. I look young and delicious. You know?
Clint absolutely
You're muted,
blushes at that and
Trevor.
turns away.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, what I said was, nah. It's the sun's up. It's early. The really nasty ones only come out at night.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
this
we should
thing could have basements. It could be built on tunnels.
It'd be
From
better to convene
bootlegging
after
or
dark
shit.
anyway.
We attack under cover of light. Look, anyone else? Anyone else here from a military family? Me, Navy, Dawn, good time. And then we bring a couple of quarter-pounder naval guns.
Clint just brings up his phone with the text and says, I think it insinuates that time is of the essence. We shouldn't delay.
Okay, everybody synchronize watches. How much time do we actually have till sundown?
I mean, Clint has a smartwatch and he goes, shouldn't all watches be synchronized already?
You don't watch movies, do you?
Who has time for movies?
All right. So it's still morning because most of us were on our way to school.
Yeah. So we've got to go a good 9 hours here.
Before nighttime, for sure. And you do know that there is the library, despite being abandoned, does still have things in it, just outdated.
Yeah, I'd like to get a Department of Water and Power map, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Are you guys breaking in to the library here?
As in using the key? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're in the treehouse currently. You see all this information here. Is there anything you are doing in the treehouse before you all leave? Before we transition scenes to the library?
Still don't think it makes any sense to go there during the middle of the day because monsters are nocturnal. Middle of our day would be the middle of their night. Wouldn't they be the most guarded?
Or the most asleep. Then Molotov cocktail, burn their nest.
It'd be easier if we went either early morning a few hours ago or early evening a few 10 hours from now.
Yeah, well, you complain to whoever the fuck sent the text message, okay? Star 69 it. Give them a jingle.
I have a curfew. I have to be back by 10.
Righteous.
Yeah, I've already pulled enough favors with my uncle. Can't really not be at school right now.
I'm enjoying not being at school. There's a Navy recruiter and a long story.
All right. Well, I'm covered. So if you all want to go, do your thing. I will go scout. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, give me 5 minutes to find this water and power map. We'll go.
Cool.
I take how old is this library? They're still we still doing Dewey.
Everything in this would be, there's no power. I mean, there is power because it's a city building, and they just don't shut off the power. But there's no like computers or anything of value in here. So any maps you would find would be dated, and they would be physical maps.
Yeah. What I want.
So yeah, you exit the treehouse and head over to the library, sort of popping the lock off and making your way down to the basement archives of whatever's left of the library. And you make your way into the municipal, like, township directory kind of thing. Go ahead and roll me an investigate.
Sure. Another 2.
Okay,
Nice.
perfect. Just rolling hot twos. You easily find this. You find the public works maps of water mains, electrical grid at the time. Obviously, you see that like there are new roads. Like if you line this map up to the one in the treehouse, new roads have been added since then, and new housing developments. So not everything is exact. However, it's not that hard to find Whispering Pine Lane. And though there are no actual street like numbers on here, you're about 99.9% sure you found the one that is Whispering Pine Lane or 237 Whispering Pine Lane, because there's a square, an empty square, as in the pipes and electrical conduits go around that location and not to it.
She comes back. There's a photo. She's got it enlarged on her MacBook. She's just put the chart back. Riddle me this, gentlemen. Why would DWP waste money routing water pipes and electricity around instead of underneath? Or even better, bulldoze abandoned house. Go straight across the property.
I'm guessing someone paid a lot of money to stay off the grid.
We know any water or any electrical gremlins? Anything like that around? You know me, I focus more on the witches and the witches and ghosts.
Yep.
Reed starts scrolling through his catalog of various monsters he's encountered. And I would like to apply my iconic item bonus to this. Would I find something that they're looking for?
Oh, that's a great idea. So go ahead and roll me an investigate with a +2 for your iconic item.
And let's just put 2 bonus dice in there, yeah?
Yep.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there are actually, so because we're using Tales from the Loop system, I will remind you that you can re-roll either by spending luck if you have some, if you're under the age of 15, or you can push and take a condition.
I think I'm just going to go with the fail and go with the fact that this is something Reed has not encountered before.
Yeah. So no amount of electricity or water goblins, despite what the sequel Gremlins 2 might have you believe. You don't find anything of the kind that would go through here. Nothing makes sense as to why they would, like a house would have plumbing, right? Like it has to have toilets, like unless they had an outhouse. And nothing seems to make sense with that. Why everything about the house is avoided by the DPW. Nothing comes up with what kind of creature would be staying in this place. Unfortunately, you have not encountered this kind of beastie before.
Enzo,
Clint, what are you doing?
If we go there, would you mind not killing it immediately? This appears to be something that's not even on one of my lists.
I don't wait long.
Fair enough, as long as I can get a sketch.
I'll send you a pic.
A blurry Sasquatch pic. Clint, what are you doing in this moment as well?
Clint is just fascinated by the fact that there's actual books, and it's not all online. So he's just pulling
get
out
an Amazon account.
I do. It's called a Kindle.
As in for the buying of actual occult books. Treat yourself.
The Kindle Paperwhite too, so we can.
He goes, I don't own any books that aren't school books.
You know, a lot of occult books don't like being imaged. So you got to read actual books. There's actual strange papyrus type technology.
Then I can just ask you.
You touching my stuff with those fingers? I think not. Think so.
Are you looking for anything particular in the books, Clint?
He's just looking for any. I guess he's looking for any journals or any, if there's any picture books of Quaintsville or whatever we're calling this place. Historically, how you can find historical books that show what it looked like in 1900s or something like that.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me investigate.
One success.
So you go through some old journals and books here. There is a history of Quaintsville, and you find what's essentially a scrapbook that has been put together by whomever has access to this treehouse. And in it, you find images dating back to the founding of Quaintsville. And you find different, most of it was fields. You see a couple of houses that are what makes up Main Street right now. You see the original, ribbon cutting of this library kind of thing. And you begin to notice that in all of the images, especially the wide shot images of the town, or in all artistic renditions of the town, the same house appears in all of them. And quickly you begin to realize that this is 237 Whispering Pine. It seems as though this house was either one of the first, if not predates the founding of Quaintsville. It's as if this house was here always.
Clint just shows them the images and says, maybe because it's a historical building, that would explain why there's no utilities going to it. It's protected under some municipal legislation.
Would have been on the building records.
I wouldn't put it past the Historical Society to preserve it.
They'd be talking about it.
Not really. There are quite a lot of places that are preserved by the Historical Society that no one speaks about.
I doubt it. In a town like this, there's something wrong with it.
Okay. At this point, Enzo is basically standing by the trapdoor. We going or not?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, who
Make
is
this
going?
quick.
Who is going, and where are you? Are you headed to 237 Whispering Pine?
That had been my plan.
Okay. Who is
Reed
following Enzo?
instructs Enzo and Clint to put their bikes in the back of his Jeep, and he's going to drive them there.
Okay.
Yep. Clint throws his bike in.
Okay. You all head with nothing but the scrappy pluck of teenagers and the backpacks you carry for school into the truck and head over to 237 Whispering Pine Lane. You see the following. I wrote README text. It's a new thing.
I was about to say, some of us have a coffin full of plot devices in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like.
It's a new thing I'm trying. Writing things out.
It'll never catch on.
You see, so it says, as you approach the weather-beaten house at 237 Whispering Pine Lane, you instantly feel a sense of dread, like walking into a spider's web. It seems to loom over the street, an architectural outcast frozen in time. The windows are cracked like jagged teeth in a sinister grin, and the paint is chipped and peeling, revealing the rotting wood underneath. Giant overgrown pine trees flank the property, their long branches swaying like wraiths in the wind and whispering secrets only they understand. A rusted iron fence surrounds its yard, its gate hanging ajar as if to both welcome and warn all who dare enter. The front porch is a disjointed, creaking mess. It almost looks as if the house is trying to lean away from its own reflection in the broken mirror that hangs beside the front door. The door is faded red, almost as if the color is entirely drained, as if years of terror have sapped its life away. You can't shake the feeling that the house itself is watching you, sizing you up, calculating your fears to manifest them in the most horrendous ways possible. A cold wind picks up, sweeping falling pine needles across the driveway, and you hear a low growl, or perhaps a whisper, you can't be sure, coming from the darkened shadows of the house. But what unsettles you most is the children's swing set in the yard. Perfectly maintained amidst the decay, it swings gently, rocking back and forth as if invisible children were playing there only moments ago. The four of you stand outside this rusted wrought iron fence, with this house looming before you. What do you do?
I hop the fence.
Okay. You grab the rusted iron fence and you hop over its low, 3-foot high spikes, and you are in the nice crispy grass as it crunches beneath you. The wake of dead leaves and unmowed lawn. The grass comes probably shin high at most parts, and you know that somewhere under there is a stone path that leads up to the house itself. You all see Enzo hop the fence and begin to head in towards the house itself.
So I have rearranged my backpack on the way so that the knife is on top and the sheath is already unsecured. Okay. So basically, I can draw it out of my backpack like drawing a sword from a back sheath.
If he gets eaten, someone get footage.
Why don't you get footage then? You have a camera, don't you?
Yeah, but with people with cameras, usually have the neighbors talk to them.
And he's going to make his way towards the swing set.
Okay. What is everyone else doing?
Clint is having a look at the boundary lines, so the neighboring properties, and seeing if there's any obvious delineation between the questionable property and the properties next to it.
There is no need to roll. There is an incredibly obvious. It is almost comic book-esque. It is as if somebody drew a square or rough rectangle where this plot would be, and then plopped this place down into it. The grass is all dead and gross up to the fence line, and where the neighbor's lawn starts, there is it just becomes a lush green lawn. There's no fade in of care to this place. It just stops being dead lawn and becomes a bright green lawn. And that happens on every bit of the property line. Even the stonework of the sidewalk in front is cracked, and there's weeds going out of these crisscross cracks in here. And as soon as you hit that property line, pristine sidewalks.
Clint is going to look for any garden sheds or anything in the properties adjoining. Preferably in a property that doesn't have someone inside, and see if he can get any garden implement or weapon.
Sure.
He can walk past. If he draws a fail on that, he can walk past Xena and she'll just wiggle a crowbar at him.
So if you're looking for lawn and garden, there is a big plastic, 5x5 shed in the neighbor to the right. There are no cars in the driveway. Whether there are people home, you're not really sure, but that's a good sign that there isn't. And you can see from the street that there is no padlock on the shed. So if there are, lawn and garden supplies in there, you have easy access to those.
Actually, Clint is going to look for a lawnmower and take it to the kind of throw it over the fence.
He is really committed to getting his badges.
I'm not sure what they call it in America. Do you have Bob a Job week?
No.
where the scouts go around to properties and offer to do work?
I mean, we might have that, but I don't know any scouts, so and no one's offered to mow my lawn. You head down the driveway of the neighbor straight to their shed, opening it, and you see it is packed to the rafters with Kenobi brand products. You see there is a lawnmower. All of these are electric. There are a battery array on there. You see a lawnmower, a weed whacker, a hedge trimmer, everything to have a neatly, perfectly manicured lawn. Lorne? What? That's not even a word. Lorne Michaels from SNL. A perfectly manicured lawn.
And only because you called it a weed whacker and we call it a whippersnipper, I'm going to get the whippersnipper out.
What does that even mean? It whacks weeds. What is that?
But it whips around the cord and snips the grass.
It doesn't snip anything. It
It whips and it snips, damn it.
You know, Australia, man. It's like Canada. Both of them are made up. They're not real.
It's a mystical far off land. Canada, sorry, it's next door.
Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious. A whippersnipper. Okay. All right.
I wish we could trade Canada for Australia.
You know?
I'd rather have Australia next door.
With their whippersnippers.
At least the Australians are funny.
Yeah, but their venomous spiders would migrate south.
That's true.
Fine.
You grab the weed whacker out of the thing, and you clip in one of the battery packs, one of the Kenobi brand battery packs, and you head over towards the poorly maintained lawn of 237. As you do, Xena and Reed, what are you doing?
Xena's gonna go see if any of the neighbors have like a car in the driveway. You know, retired people. She does good retired people.
Are you looking to speak to a person?
Yeah.
Is that your aim here? Yeah.
Or if the mailman is delivering, whoever knows the neighborhood.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a contact.
Okay. Straight heart for me. Nah, nothing.
Okay. You do see there is no mailman, but you do see that 3 or 4 houses down there is a late model Oldsmobile. You kind of assume this is a retiree of some kind. And as you knock on the door, you can see that like the doily curtains are drawn to the side in a large bay window, and you do see that there is a woman there, probably in her early to mid 80s. She has a large, very plush, comfortable chair with one small circular table upon which is a porcelain bowl containing an infinity amount of Werthers. And you can see that her knob and tube TV is playing on the max volume. Because you can hear Sally Jesse Donatello just blaring through the screen. And you knock on the door, and to no avail. Unfortunately, with a 0 in contact, she does not hear you.
Mm-hmm.
She's there. There is a what looks to be a living person in this neighborhood.
Yeah, and considering it was an Oldsmobile Delta 88, the conversation they would have had.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down for future reference. Oldsmobile Delta 88 lady.
And yeah, please do. She'll come back. She's a huge important plot point.
Oh yes. She might be the witch. She might be the witch that Xena's been looking for.
No,
that's true.
Actually, it's going to turn out that Sally Jesse Donatello is the big bad after all.
Yeah,
I like it.
I feel like that's a reference for only me and Trevor. Reed, what are you doing here while they're all canvassing the neighborhood and getting their merit badges?
Yeah, all I know is...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Reed is trying to see if he can spot the obvious historical society plaque, if it even exists.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll me an investigate.
Let's see.
One success. Perfect. You scour the front and sides of the house. There is no placard. Normally, you'd see a placard that would have the date in big bold letters where or when this house was made. You do not see that, nor do you see any sort of inclination that there was ever one. Here. However, upon scouring the front of this house, you do every once in a while you catch, and it's usually when you're not looking at the house and sort of moving towards another point to look, or when you've just looked somewhere. It seems as though in your periphery of where you've been, you do see a movement, either in one of the windows or perhaps a shutter closes or the swing creaks, something along those lines. But always where you were just looking, something happens. So Xena is canvassing the neighborhood. Clint, you are coming back around to the front of the house with a weed whacker. Reed, you are making your way around the front of the house looking for this. Enzo, you have hopped the fence while all this is happening. Are you charging for the door? What are you doing? Your friends seem to have scattered in various directions.
No, I'm investigating the swing set. And I'm not charging anywhere. I am taking very measured steps. If anything, it looks like I'm stalking it. He's kind of got the little hunched over look. He's got the dagger held backwards in the hand, and it looks like he's trying to sneak up on a swing set, which under any other set of circumstances would look ludicrous.
Yeah, it does.
But somehow seems perfectly normal here.
Yeah. Much like a gazebo in the 90s, you stalk towards this, and you see a perfectly maintained, albeit outdated, it's metal, a metal A-frame swing set. It has two swings on either side, and then a sort of chain that ends in loops for hand holding and swinging of that kind. But the chains look well oiled. There's not a bit of rust here. In fact, the only place that you can see that isn't either driveway or stone that is cut, the grass here seems to be cut around the swing set enough to get a good swing and play. And as you walk closer, you can actually smell like waffle cone. That like sickly sweet bread smell of a waffle cone.
And it's definitely getting closer as I get closer to the swing set.
Yep. It's never like a big scent, but it's just enough that like you walked past an ice cream store.
It's the smell equivalent of peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. I'm going to stop. I'm going to look and smell around. If the only place it's coming from, if the only direction from which it's getting stronger, there we go, there are the words, is the swing set, then I will just continue slightly even more wary than I was before.
Okay. It does appear to be only coming from there. You kind of move around, and the smell seems to be emanating from this kind of area. In fact, you can even see, like, the closer you get here, it was harder to perceive before, but it looks like there is a little bit of cloud cover that seems to ominously hang over the house. And you can see, like, a small pinhole of light sort of making this area look that much more pleasant in the fog, in the din of the overcast shadow, almost as if it's a bright spot in the darkness inviting you in. And you walk over here, and the wind trills a little bit, and you can hear a distant wind chime, and the swings begin to creak in opposite swings, as if two people were swinging upon them, only moving like 1.5 feet forward and back, but they do swing gently as you approach.
Okay, and that is what they were doing since I first saw it, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So I am going to reach into my backpack, grab a pair of gloves, put the gloves on, and with my knife in my dominant hand at the ready, I'm going to take my left hand and grab one of the chains and stop the swing.
Okay. It stops. The other one comes to a halt almost at the exact same time.
Where are you at? I
At
let
this
go of the
point,
swing.
okay. It stops. Both of them just sort of lay there motionlessly. You do note that if you had stopped a swing, even if you had like stopped it dead in its tracks, letting it go should have caused some sort of motion. It does not. It's as if they are weighted in the center. I'll say it's at this time that Reed, you sort of come back to the center of the house towards the gate, and Clint, you also get back here with the weed whacker in hand. What are the two of you doing? You see Enzo is out there holding or stopping the swing from swinging.
Clint moves through the gate and immediately starts cutting the edges with the weed whacker,
Okay.
just to see if there's any response, but also to act as a cover if anyone wanders past and wonders what they're doing here.
That's fair. That's fair. So you all hear the electric whine of a Kenobi TM brand weed whacker. Just sort of begin to head up and start slicing down the grass here. You know that this should be going a lot easier than it is, Clint. You're having to go a lot slower when cutting this grass. It's as if the grass is thicker or knotting up the spindle. Reed, what are you doing as Clint starts this?
Having audio issues.
Oh, perfect. Well, you sort that, and we'll come back to you. So, Clint, you begin to edge around. Are you edging just around the fence?
Yeah.
Around the interior of the fence?
Yeah, the interior of the fence.
Okay, cool. You begin to edge through this, and a minute or so goes by while Enzo is messing around with the swing set, and you see that there are toys in this yard. You see that there are like metal Tonka trucks, which, like, you know, they don't make those. They're all plastic now. There are toys that date back 20, 30 years. Balls that still have air in them. There are old rubber band planes that if you twist the propeller enough times, the rubber band sort of twists and it will let it go, and they can sort of fly. Made out of like balsa wood. You see that there is a skip it from the 90s. You see that there are just toys littered throughout this yard. And the more you cut, the more you see. And each of these toys just seems to be an invitation to come play in this yard.
Can Clint see Xena anywhere?
Xena?
She'll just be walking up and down all the sort of nearby yards, looking for sort of any sign of life.
So you
He'll
see
just
her
go.
a couple houses down.
Yeah, Clint will go. Xena. These ancient toys are more for your age.
Yeah, on my dad, but whatever, sweetie.
That's not weird to you?
Yeah, perfectly preserved toys are kind of weird.
Okay. And he'll just keep
So something
or weed whacking.
So something is trying to lure kids here?
You're whip snipping or
Screaming!
It seems to be. I mean, but only kids from ye olde times. There's no tech here.
Yeah, well, how would it charge? There's no power.
I see. We've gone from whippersnipper to whippersnapper. But
real quick.
Yep.
So as Xena and Clint are having this conversation about the age of toys and lack of technology here in the house, Reed, what are you doing?
Reed is watching the windows to see if he's kind of trying to fake it out, see if the windows just stop moving when someone's looking directly at them, and kind of just back and forth.
Yeah. It's yeah, trying to psych out the house like one of those like triangular, like if you look at it this way it looks like a plane, if you look at it this way it's a whale. You try to maneuver around the house, and the thing you notice is that there is daylight out. And as such, the windows, broken or otherwise, should reflect a little bit of a glint of sunlight. Even in the overcast, there should still be some overhead light being produced through the clouds. There is not. The house is black inside. You see there is no reflection on the windows, not even of you guys that are getting closer to this place. And anytime there is a broken window that you can see inside the house, you cannot. It is black. It is as if someone hung up a black sheet inside the house. It looks like a solid mass of darkness inside this house. That is what you notice as you're trying to like fake out the windows.
Demon
Reed
House getting
honestly
you down?
trying to think to himself is like, is the house the whole issue? Is it just the whole house, or is there something in there?
I think there's only one way to find out.
And what is that way, Enzo?
So, Enzo, you said most of the windows were broken.
Yes.
I would like to find one that is missing entirely, if possible.
Sure, easily enough.
Okay. Someone cover me. And I go to, vault to one side.
Reed
Into
as a
the window.
16-year-old in America somehow pulls out an AR-15 with 3 loaded magazines. No one
It's
knows where he
America.
got it from. No one knows how he afforded the things. He just has it.
That sounds like America to me.
Yep.
It's the America that I
America.
know. So Enzo, you are headed towards that window?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then into the house.
And then into the house.
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. You all see Enzo make a break for the house itself. And vaulting over the dilapidated railing onto the front porch, scoping out a broken window, and then clambering inside the window. And as you do, Reed, since you were the one looking at the windows, it's as if he passed through a veil. You watch him climb over the house, and as his leg goes, his second leg goes over the windowsill, he's gone. You just see darkness. Presumably, he should be standing directly in front of that window, and you see nothing. This is the last time you see Enzo. The end. That's where we end the one shot. No.
And he's gone. He's dead.
He's gone forever. You fed the house. It was not a one shot, but a death trap. Enzo disappears into the house. Clint, Xena, and Reed, presumably Xena is back at this point. What do you all do as you essentially see Enzo disappear into the house?
Do we go after him? Looking towards Xena.
Give me a second. She'll go back to Elvira and pull out covered one end in a butcher's apron, the other part a baseball bat sticking out of it, and it's a very sharp-looking spiked baseball bat. Looks like we go in.
Why don't you just store a flamethrower in there? You seem to have everything else.
God, if you want an incendiary grenade. You want an incendiary grenade? Are you going to pay for it?
No.
Didn't think so.
Too expensive for my blood.
Maybe don't drive a V8 then. You know, the gas mileage you could save for the Prius.
I go off-roading in my spare time. I can't do that with a Prius.
And I have room
Do
for
they even still make Priuses?
2023,
well,
yeah.
I think it's more correctly Prii.
Ah, yes. So yeah, so sort of
Almost
like
got him.
their shadows in the doorways. He's got the fingerless gloves, the baseball bat on the shoulder of her cut, which has the Hellboy Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense logo on the back, and probably the famous Hellboy panel of getting drunk with skeletons.
That's the problem with getting
Goals.
drunk. That's the problem with trying to get drunk with skeletons. The alcohol just goes right through them.
Yep. You end up licking up the deck.
So it sounds as though Xena and Reed are headed in. Clint,
Yeah.
are you still earning merit badges, or are you here to test your mettle, as it were?
Clint is looking to head in, but before he does, he wants to check whether he still has phone reception.
You don't.
And if he puts his hand over the fence outside,
5G.
he goes to tell someone and then realizes they're all heading in the house, kind of sighs.
Dude, I already sent a pin when we were in the car. I have people.
Yeah, but if something happens, we can't notify anyone.
Yes, just like in the olden times when I was a nipper. Actually,
We'll get a pigeon. We'll take a cage with a pigeon in there and a scratch a note. We'll tie it to its foot.
I thought we take the canary in there to test the gas.
I said pigeon, not canary.
Yeah, the pigeon will just fuck up. Let's get a trained monkey.
The trained monkey already went inside. Thanks.
Yeah.
So
Zena, we already have the trained monkey. He was wearing a shirt that said "Cannibal Baboons."
Oh yeah, that's sick.
And so Clint kind of just throws the weed whacker over his shoulder. He switches the phone to camera mode and he just starts filming heading into the house.
Yeah, he hasn't looked at Xena's front, has he? GoPro.
Well, we'll see about that. You head into the house. The three of you head into the house, and we cut inside. Enzo, you have hopped in through the window of this darkened estate. And you see everything that you would expect to see inside this ancient home. You have hopped into a living room or a parlor or a sitting room of some kind. There is a large sofa, edged in wood, sort of plush sofa here. There's a large ovular carpet in the middle there. A grand piano sits off to one side. Obviously, everything is in disarray and decay, and there's a spongy essence to the floor here as you walk across. And you smell the smell of rotting wood and mildew and age. But more than anything, you smell a metallic copper tinge in the air. It's sort of strong enough to overpower the smell of the mold. It seems to permeate the entire place.
Blood will do that.
Blood will do that.
Is the inside lit?
It seems to be. It seems to be lit from the outside.
Okay, so okay. Interesting. I will see if I can follow the smell, because apparently I'm our tracking hound today.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you use the super sniffer? So you are you trying to identify where it's coming from?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. You sniff around, which is
why not?
Didn't think we'd be using that line here.
Well, as our groups usually are a bizarre version of the Scooby Gang, why not? Let's embrace it.
Right?
And besides, Mike, if you keep throwing weird smells at us, we're going to eventually start following the smells. That's how this works.
Listen, I do what I can. Sometimes, you know, they tell you in all those GMing blogs, like the one over at unMadeGaming.com, that you should describe with the five senses. And so things smell, guys. Despite the fact that I can't right now. So
you get what you incentivize.
Yeah, right. So you try to follow the smell of blood, or the smell of, the smell of a metallic tinge in the air.
At this point, I am assuming it is blood unless I discover otherwise.
What? You follow this smell into the kitchen. Into the kitchen. That seems to be the greatest source of this. And there you are met with a big old double sink full of dirty dishes, plates, cutlery, knives, surgical saws, bone saws, metal organ plates, etc. That seem to fill this sink. You also see that there is a food preparing station that seems to have dilapidated Tupperware from the mid-50s with that sort of crinkle-edged sort of look to it. You see that there is a cutting board that at one time must have been a white or a gray, perhaps now, but it is a mottled red. And you see that everything in here seems to be coated with a reddish sludge. And as you look around here, there are handprints, like grabbing the door handle of this 1950s era fridge here, this freezer box. And for some reason, against all better judgment, which seems to be the general modus operandi of Enzo, you open this and you see that hanging from the various layers of the fridge are brand new hospital blood bags. Like delicious O positive Capri Suns.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be where the smell's coming from.
Okay. I close the fridge with not my hand. I push it closed with my elbow or something. Turn up and stand up and whip around, knife at the ready. At this point, basically assuming that there's going to be some kind of nasty creature behind me.
You swing wide and there is nothing. You swing and you end up the opposite direction of where you came in from. There's a throughput of this kitchen. And you see a dining room on the other side of this, to which you see there are 8 high-backed rounded chairs, a large table here in the center, complete with a runner across this, and you see there are various plates of food, like a family-style smorgasbord, as it were, except what you see are heads, hands, arms, limbs, organs, livers, stomachs, hearts, all placed in various platters, party platters here. The plates and cutlery are perfectly lined up as if for an expecting dinner.
Oh, good. They're serving finger sandwiches. I go back out to the parlor that I came in from. You said the light's coming from outside, so I can see outside. Can I see any of the three of them?
You can. They are approaching the house.
Okay. I will call out, not loud, but slightly forcefully. Blood bags in the fridge, and the nastiest table setting in the dining room. And I'm going to check to see if they hear me at all.
They don't seem to react to you whatsoever.
Okay.
But as your words carry out the window, will cut. Who among you is the first to enter the house, or to enter up to the front stoop?
Clint will be filming the other two as they go in, so he
Oh,
I guess
man.
Reed
last
will be
one
in
in.
the lead.
Gonna have to make it look badass, and
I guess
Xeno will just
Reed's
kick
in
the
the
door
lead.
open.
That was a great step back, Snow. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, he already knew where the hideout was. You
Yeah,
know.
sure.
So
Look, I actually live in this house, and I'm part of the lure
I
of
guess
dragon.
Reed and
Ah!
Zena are right next to each other as Zena kicks the door open.
Yeah. Xena's just gonna deliver New Rock to Doorknob, and it'll just
Okay.
open wide.
Okay. You do so. You kick this door. It is barely on hinges, and you see a sheet of darkness before you. Do you enter?
Xena will just grab out a flashlight.
Okay. Your flashlight does not penetrate the darkness, but you see it still there before you. It doesn't reflect back at you, but you just don't see it cutting through any of the darkness.
Freaky.
Do you enter?
Yeah, either that or unless you find something like a stone to throw to see if you can hear anything head down there, or if it's just like a.
Sure. Yeah, you find like a loose piece of wood. You sort of chuck that in there, and you hear nothing. Enzo, there's a clatter somewhere in a different part of the house, as if something fell off a wall.
Did I see? So that something got thrown?
Nope.
Okay.
You just heard something. You heard gravity work.
Okay. On this floor or not?
On this floor.
Okay. I will attempt to make my way towards where the sound was.
Sure. Cool. You make your way through the dining room table looking for this sound. Xena, Reed, do either of you enter the house?
Reed sticks his hand through the blackness.
You stick your hand in. It feels like nothing, and you stick your hand back out, and it's still there.
Well, when he sticks his hand, can he just not see his hand anymore?
Correct.
And as he does that, he turns around to Clint, gives the peace sign, and just steps through.
Okay.
Come on in. The alternate dimension's fine.
What about what about Xena and Clint?
Clint's still filming. If Xena doesn't follow soon enough, he just sighs and heads in himself.
I'd say let's stick together, but I don't think that's an option. See you on the other side, big man.
Clint definitely looks around for someone else that might be big, realizing she meant him, and he heads inside.
Perfect. So the three of you enter the house. Reed, you were the first person in here. You make your way into the front foyer of the home. You see that there is a room off to your right, like a sitting parlor kind of room. And you see that off to your left is a some sort of dining room, perhaps. You see the hallway continues further down, and there's a set of stairs that leads up to a second level of the house. You make your way down the front foyer of this place, and there's a spongy quality, a soft squish as you walk down the carpeted entryway to this area. You see that there are buckles in the floorboards from where water pipes may have burst at some point in time. You see that there's a large grandfather clock on the other end of this hallway, and there's a like a china cabinet that has a bunch of broken piecemeal things in here. And as you make your way down, you're looking for any sort of movement that you may have perceived from the outside. You make your way down this main corridor, and before you get to the grandfather clock, there is an archway. Sorry, right after the grandfather clock, there's an archway that leads into a separate room. But right before you get there, off to the right, behind the staircase, there appears to be an open door leading into a basement. Where are you going?
Reed is going to wait to see if the others catch up with him.
You don't hear anything. Actually, you do hear something in the house. You hear a like a constant drip of water echoing through the house. But you don't see Enzo, and you don't see anyone walking in the door behind you.
Well, crap. Of course, the mysterious door goes in front of the person that has no weapons. All right, mysterious door, I choose you.
Are you at the door to the basement, or the door to the or the archway near the grandfather clock?
The door to the basement. He's going to look for like a piece of wood he can use as a wedge to prop the door open.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of pieces. You can break a chip off the cabinet. It's very easy.
He does that and he makes sure it's really good under there.
Yep, you are fairly certain that it is secure in here. You head down into the basement. The stairs creak beneath your feet, and they kind of sway and rock as the board that sort of bolts them to the foundation has come loose. You slowly make your way downstairs, and as you get off the floor, or sorry, as you get off the final stair, what you think would be like a hard cement for like a foundational pour is in fact just dirt. You are in a dirt basement here. The rafters seem to be a lot higher than you remember going down, but the floor runners above you seem to be about 15 feet up, meaning this is a fairly deep basement here. And you see that lining the shelves are glasses and jars full of like what look to be giant centipedes or massive millipedes, sort of spiraling around in these jars. Each of them has like an eerie green glow to them. And as you look around, there are hundreds of these like insectopoids just sort of in various sized jars and tubs, all sealed, as you make your way down here. What are you doing?
That is a whole lot of nope. Are the centipedes are they like preserved or are they moving?
As far as you can tell, they seem to be preserved.
Reed, against his better judgment, is going to walk up to the closest, most interesting looking one and take a closer look.
You take a closer look, sort of leaning in. There's a lot of dust caking these things, but you can see the general spiraling outline of some sort of long creature. And you sort of lean in towards this. And as you get a few inches away from this, you see a violent shudder in the glasses. It spirals around in this thing, clearly still alive. It rattles the other jars, the two jars next to it as it vibrates, and you hear this ting 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 ting, this like ringing of glass on glass as all of these things begin to slowly move. As you see that the hundreds of jars around you containing large snake-like creatures all begin to shake and rattle as these things sort of come to life. You stumble backwards a little bit away from this, and you can roll me a move to see what happens.
I was actually going to say I'm going to roll move as he jumps back anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Perfect. Yeah, you feel the back of your heel catch on something, but you quickly recover from that, sort of leaping and twisting around it so you don't actually stumble, knowing that you would have fallen smack on your back. And you see that now that you're down here and looking proper, that there are hundreds of tiny, maybe 3-inch holes in the floor, in this dirt floor that just sort of ominously lead down.
I am... Okay, this is going to be something that's going to sound crazy, but Reed wants to take one of these jars and then run up the stairs.
Yeah, roll me move. Let's see what happens. one success. You quickly step forward. You grab one of these jars. You can feel the violent, like, twisting and shaking motion in this, sort of rattling the jar in your hand. And you begin to charge towards the stairs. And as you do, you see these holes, the creatures. These long, like cylindrical worm-like creatures are slithering out of the holes, and there's probably a dozen of them from various parts of the basement seem to be moving towards you as you leap over one of them and onto the stairs to begin to run up these stairs. You hit that first stair with enough pressure that it starts to crack, and as you make your way up to the top of the stair, you hear the slam, slam, slam of the staircase hitting the retaining wall as you make it to the top. You can still hear the noise as they are climbing up the stairs before you slam that door. You have a jar. The basement door is secured.
Would it be unfair for me to say that Reed probably has the scared condition now?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you succeeded, but yeah, you could definitely.
I don't want to give myself a condition, but
you could definitely take a condition. So as Reed like slams the door, kind of puts his back against it, and catches his breath. We'll follow Clint. Clint, who was officially the second person into the house. Clint, you walk in, and much the same as Reed, you see a long hallway before you. To your right is a sitting room. To your left is a dining room. In front of you, an archway with a grandfather clock. You do not see Reed directly in front of you, but as you step onto the carpet, there is that spongy.
Clint has been to movie theaters, so that squelching sound does seem familiar. So he will kind of call out to anyone. He'll call out, Reed, Enzo.
No one responds.
So Reed will... does there appear to be any footprints or anything in this squelchy carpet?
There do not.
He will... Is there an upstairs?
There is. There is a room to your right, left, a grandfather clock with an archway, and a set of stairs just slightly off to your left that leads up to a second-story floor.
He will start heading upstairs.
Okay. You head off the squelching carpet and up to the creaking stairs. You see a few of them have a hole, like straight down into what you imagine is some sort of under the cupboard stairs. Under the stairs cupboard, rather. And you make your way, holding the rail that creaks as you maneuver upstairs. You head up to the second floor, where you see a wraparound floor. There are several what you assume to be bedrooms and perhaps a bathroom up here. But as you move, you do not actually see anyone here. There is a pervasive sound of dripping.
But there's no plumbing coming into this?
As far as Xena said.
He will look for a room that might have a window that goes onto the roof.
Yeah. You make your way up to the top of the stairs and you sort of cut around. And the last room on the wraparound floor, all the way down the hallway, you see faces, you see light coming in. It faces the street, to which you know there was a roof on the porch. That if there's a window there, you should be able to get out of that. As you make your way down there, you realize that it is a bathroom, despite there being no plumbing to this house. And there you see a faucet dripping. Bloop, bloop. You see fuzzy carpets on the floor, like the fuzzy individual rugs, one in front of the bathroom, one in front of the toilet, one in front of the bathtub, and one in front of the sink. You see that the toilet itself is one of those overhead chain pull numbers. And you see a clawfoot tub with an oval shower curtain that runs the whole thing, and out basically above or between where the toilet tank is and the toilet itself is, there is a long ways oval-shaped window that is stained glass. That is a picture of the roiling sea and a ship tossed atop it. And there's a steady bloop, bloop from the sink.
Clint will first try to turn the tap so that the dripping stops, and then head over to the window.
You turn both handles, and no matter which way you turn them, the dripping continues.
But if he turns them on, does the water turn on?
No.
Beyond a drip?
It does not.
Okay. Clint will make a mental note and then head to the window to try to get out onto the roof.
You make your way over there, and you see that there are like two metal like brackets on this thing, and you know that you can turn it out. So someone as small as I think you said you were what, 12 or 13. Someone
13,
as small
yeah.
as you could probably easily open this thing and squirm your way out. If not, the oval shape is plenty big enough for you to smash this window and climb out. As
if he can avoid smashing it, he'll just squirm his way out.
Sure. As you're like wrenching the window open to try to look out here, you hear the steady drip of water go from like a bloop, bloop, to a far more bloop, 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 as if the water has increased in speed. And you also hear from directly behind you the shower head in the clawfoot tub. The faucet in the clawfoot tub also begin to bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Water seems to be coming from the faucets here. Do you exit the house?
Yeah, he, as quickly as he can, he squirms his way out of the window.
Yeah. Perfect. You wrench the window open, sort of tunneling under that bottom half, and you see the dilapidated rooftop before you as you reach yourself over and sort of head sideways and squirm your way into this thing. Your head sort of topples over as your body sort of falls through the window. And as you kind of guide yourself as best you can onto the roof, you stand up and sort of dust the paint chips off of you and realize that you are facing the clawfoot tub and you are in fact still in the bathroom.
Clint will quickly try to leave the bathroom.
The door is closed. You didn't close it, but now on this side of the window it is closed. And as you rattle the door handle, you feel the handle sort of jiggle in its housing. And the more you try to jiggle this thing, the less the door opens.
He'll just start bashing on the door and calling out for Enzo and Reed.
As you vibrate the door with your fists, the handle eventually just pops loose and clatters to the ground. And it's at that point that it clatters that you realize, as it's sort of rolling, that you can hear it splashing as it does so. And the drips from the faucet and the sink have become a stream of water overflowing both the sink and the tub and sort of leaving a half inch of water or 2 centimeters of water for some of you, on the floor, rising up over the soles of your shoes.
Clint will once again try to squeeze out the window.
Clinton, you see that the window is closed, and you see as you try to frantically pry the window open that this stained glass seems to be moving. You see that from your perspective, the ocean seems to be tossing this ship on top of it, almost like a ship in a bottle as it's moving. You can see cascades of lightning crash into this thing, and it's at that moment that you realize that the water is around your ankles. It doesn't seem to be seeping out of any door hole. It doesn't seem to be draining anywhere, and this bathroom is filling with water around you.
Clint will head over to the toilet and flush the toilet, hoping that he can get the water level to go down.
You grab the chain and pull this thing. Not only does the chain snap off the tank above, a little stream of water begins to leak out of the overhead tank, and the water in the toilet bowl spirals. You hear the gluk, 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 and it backfills, and then water begins pouring over the sides of the bowl. The water is now calf high.
He was carrying the whippersnipper, so he will attempt to smash the window with the whippersnipper.
You grab this thing and you start banging at the window and banging at the window and banging at the window. The water is filling up. It is now about thigh high. Nothing seems to be draining this water as you are seemingly stuck in this room filling with water. It seems as though nothing can get you out of here, Clint. As panic sets in, what are you doing?
He will, apart from sweating a lot and looking around a lot, he will look for if there's any kind of exit through the roof, maybe some way of getting out through the roof of the bathroom, like a ceiling fan or something like that.
Yeah, sure. You see a you see a ceiling fan in there, and you sort of bash upwards. Roll me force.
No successes. I'm going to try to use some luck.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't seem like he is strong enough to get.
You start smashing at this thing and smashing at this thing and smashing at this thing. However, the fan is not popping out of here. The water now being at waist height, filling slowly, not even slowly anymore, quickly filling this room. You have to kind of wade to get back and forth as you do so. Continue banging on the door, smashing at the window, and as soon as the water is about chest high, we cut over to Xena. Xena, you have walked into this house again. Same thing. Right side of the room is a sitting room. Left side of the room is a dining room. A long runner in the hallway leading deeper into the house at a grandfather clock and an archway. What are you doing?
Just enjoying the dark and the silence. She's gonna wander over, see if there's anything that could be laid out as a fire in the chimney. See if it's entirely full of birds' nests.
Okay, so you're heading into the sitting room?
Yeah, if that's got the biggest fireplace.
Yeah. So you head over to the sitting room again. You see that same long sofa, grand piano. You see these tables, etc., and you see a large fireplace, a large roaring fireplace that sort of almost springs to life the moment you enter into this room. Crackling and sort of cascading heat into the room, almost an oppressing heat as you do so. And as you walk closer, you notice that this fireplace is easily 6 feet tall. The opening is a grown person could stand inside this thing fully. And you see that there is a large circular, like wooden, like a fire, like a fire happening in here, and atop which is an almost cartoonish in its design cauldron, bubbling, just sat in the fire, and you can smell like rotten meat and these just awful smells just sort of coming off of this thing, wafting, and there are like this acrid greenish smoke just sort of roils out of this thing and hits the floor and sort of permeates this room at a low, like ankle height level.
Oh, darling, that's just cliche. Reality is diverging, and this is what I get. I was hoping for Michelle Gomez.
Do you proceed further in?
Xena grabs a bandana out of one of her pockets and wraps it around herself, wraps it around her mouth and her nose. tries to find a tin of Vaseline to stick
Sure. Yeah.
stick up nose, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're smelling rancid bits of corpses.
You can you enter into this room, and you see that hanging from the ceiling are like stick effigies that just sort of scatter the rooftop. You see that you didn't quite see it before, but or perhaps you did and thought they were like dress mannequins. Are in fact these strange scarecrow like statues, just sort of around the room, wearing various level of clothing, t-shirts, jeans, looking like they could have been from yesterday, from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Throughout time, and there's about 4 of them here in the room. And again, this smell just sort of permeates through this area, and you can hear a low, sing-songy sound coming, like a voice calling from another part of the house, and you can hear that voice sort of coming towards you.
What are these supposed to be? Voodoo dolls? Are we mixing our histories here?
Nothing responds to you in this room. The sing-songy nature of this voice continues down, and you can hear the voice. The further away it was, the more like songy it sounded. The more like lilting it sounded, and the closer it gets, the more croaking it sounds. As this voice is maybe 10, 15 feet away, you hear a scraping and cracking in the room. And at first you thought it was maybe the cauldron sort of settling into the pieces of timber that are down here. But as you look around, you note that the placement of the 4 scarecrows seems to be slightly different. Maybe one's closer, you're not entirely sure.
Oh, come on. Like you would want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight and not get eternal youth? Just doesn't check out. Now I'm going to be attacked by the Wicker Man.
Are you staying in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. As you look around towards, one of the scarecrows, you turn and the other ones have moved, almost weeping angel style. As long as you're not looking at them, they seem to be able to move in your direction. And it seems as though if you're staying still, every time you move, one of them gets closer to you. Are you doing anything to prevent this from happening?
Probably going to threaten them with a roaring fire. Your straw.
That is fair. So you head over to the fire and grab one of the logs off the out of the cauldron. So you start brandishing this log in the direction of these wicker men, as you called them, and the croaking, sing-songy voice gets closer and closer and closer, and you see, coming from that same entryway that you had entered, a hunched figure, maybe 4 feet tall with the hunch. You can see that their shoulders sort of lurch forward, their head hooded, and on their back is like a wicker basket almost, but it's large. It's maybe 2 feet long and 2 feet around, and you can see that as they're holding this, the wicker basket is jostling as if something is moving inside of this thing, and you can hear that whatever this hunched person is humming a jaunty little tune that croaks out of their old ancient voice as they move towards. You see them look up, and you can almost hear their bones creak and crack as they stand, not much taller than they were hunched, but looks around the room. And you hear, "Oh, a dinner guest, yes."
No, I perfectly think that I am dinner there, Igor.
you see this creature grab this bag and sort of toss it to the side, and you hear the voices of several different voices grunt in there, as if there are perhaps people inside of this bag. And you see the creature sort of lumber towards you, as if one of its legs are bad. And the four wicker men, no longer under any pretense, begin to move towards you. The 5 of these creatures are closing in on you. What are you doing?
He's just gonna sneak her ass out of the way.
Okay. You have yourself backed up to the fireplace. So are you trying to get by them, or are you trying to get past them? The only exit to this room seems to be that front where you came in.
Yeah, sneak between out the front.
Okay. So there's no sneak here. They're all coming for you. You can try to move or force your way past them.
Mm-hmm.
So you choose move or force, and go ahead and roll.
It's all the same.
Go ahead and roll.
Oh, where we go? Nah, nothing. Lost you there.
I was on mute. You brandish this flaming log towards these things as they all sort of close in on you. The darkness of this room and the smoke sort of filling the overhead seems to close in towards you. I will give you the scared condition.
Mm-hmm.
Clint, you can also take the scared condition. And Enzo, we cut from Xena to Enzo. Enzo, you heard a thunk in the house,
Yes.
a sound you are trying to investigate. And as you make your way through the kitchen, you see that there is an archway, and outside of said archway, there is a grandfather clock. And you head over in that general direction to where you see Reed holding a glass jar that is empty, and he is breathing heavily, and who has just slammed closed a door.
So is this the same archway where the dining room table full of body parts had been, or
the dining room table is so there's imagine like the house goes in a circle.
Okay.
So one side in your reality, in one side the sitting room had an archway into the kitchen. The dining room on the other side had an archway into the kitchen, and the kitchen runs opposite both of those things, making a T junction almost.
So there's no pretense for anything. I'm going to walk up, grab Reed by the shoulders, shake him, and say, "Are you here?"
Am I here? Yes.
You are.
What's with the bug?
Oh no, his jar is empty.
Oh. What's with the empty jar?
Empty? What do you mean empty? And Reed looks at the jar. Is it empty?
It is empty.
Forget about it. And throws it.
It shatters.
You muted. Right.
You know where the others are?
No. Just, I'm not going back down there.
You went into the basement by yourself.
Yes, I know. In any horror plot, that is a terrible idea.
You know what the difference is between fiction and real life? Fiction has to make sense. Come on. And I'm going to keep... Would Reed being here and what I see of where I found him, would that explain the sound that I heard?
Yeah, maybe it sounded like a slammed door. Could explain that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Are the others inside?
No, they weren't down there. I don't know if they're even inside the building.
Right. So let's go scouting.
After you.
Absolutely. Keep up.
Yeah.
And I will lead Reed around to investigate as much of the rest of this floor as I can. Do we find anything of interest?
So you grab Reed and you begin to head out, and you can't help but notice that there is a plume of smoke, sort of billowing out from the archway that led into the sitting room. You know there's no reason for smoke to have been there. It was kind of a soppy, wet, dilapidated mess. But there is a plume of dark, acrid, black smoke, sort of choking the top half of the ceiling. And you see a wispy, acrid, greenish smoke flowing along the bottom of this area. Again, no reason for this to have happened, but you see it nonetheless.
Not that way. And I will. You said it. You said the bottom floor plan is loop.
It does. It does loop around. And as you say not that way and kind of turn back the direction you came, you see more smoke wrapping around from where the sitting room enters into the kitchen.
Does Reed see the smoke?
You do.
Well,
I don't think we have any choice now, do we?
The only area of egress would be the dining room if you want to choose that, but it does seem to be whatever is in the sitting room seems to be smoking or on fire or something.
All right. I will. Grab a couple of either bandanas or rags or something of that sort out of my backpack. Toss one at Reed and start tying it around my face.
Easy enough. You have one. You wrap it around, making a preventative barrier for the smoke. Reed, you can easily do the same. Which entrance, if any, are you entering?
So I'm gonna look back. I'm looking at the sitting room, not that way. Turn around. I'm facing the entrance to the dining room, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it still set for dinner?
It is not. It's a dilapidated table. No plates, no cutlery, nothing.
Right, this way, come on. And I am not running, but again, walking with purpose.
He is moving briskly.
Yep. To get through the dining room, just in case whatever that was decides to come back and ruin my fucking day.
You easily make it through the dining room. You see nothing of what you saw before. No meat, no organs, no bones. It just seems to be one of the legs on the table is down, is out, so it's kind of at a wonky angle. Broken chairs. You see the remnants of a shattered candelabra. And at the other end, did you go in from the kitchen side or from the front door side? Okay. So you, and in fact, you walk through the kitchen and nothing looks the same there either. It looks like a dirty, rundown, rank kitchen. There's no, there may be a handful of dishes in there, but there's no red gore in here. There's no handprint on the fridge, nothing of the kind. As you wrap your way through a strangely similar but completely different kitchen and into the dining room, making your way to the edge of the dining room. You see the archway that cuts back through that middle hallway, and you can see past the hallway into the now smoke-filled sitting room.
Right. As we get to the end of the dining room, you said it's one leg is loose, so it's kind of off kilter.
Yep.
Enzo's gonna table flip.
Great. You flip the table as a defensive.
No, as in like. Just in case whatever I saw is still there, I want it as destroyed as I can make it.
Sure.
It not actually being
very easily. You can just kick the leg out and it sort of topples over.
Much.
Okay. You guys are securely in the dining room. Is there anything else you're doing?
I will call out for Clint and Xena. And I will take the rag down off of my face and just project as much as I can.
Yeah. You do so. The smoke seems to continue to billow out of this place. You pull this down and shout as loud as you can. And as you shout, almost as if maybe your voice shook something loose, you can hear creaking and cracking and groaning of the house above you. And in fact, you begin to see a small water spot form as a drip bloop drips down. you call out for Xena and Clint, and a deluge of water floods down the central staircase from the upstairs, sort of spilling out over the banisters and down, and carried like a slip and slide of the 80s down the staircase unceremoniously is Clint, soaking wet, covered in water, and gasping for breath. The water splashes against the front door, floods into both the dining room and the sitting room, abating some of the smoke, but you see Clint sputtering as he comes to a halt after this unintentional water slide.
Okay, so I'm going to
Well, we found Clint.
say, so I'm basically going to, if Clint is coming at me, I'm basically going to, grab him and turn and just pass him off to Reed.
He would be like the two rooms are facing each other almost.
Okay.
He would be coming down the center straight towards
it.
the door.
Okay.
So unless you put yourself in his path, he would just slam into a wall.
No, I let him slam.
Okay. He does. Clint, you are head to toe soaked in water. You have the scare condition, and you are sputtering any water that may have crawled its way into your lungs out as you slam into the front door of the house on 237 Whispering Pine Lane.
And as soon as he's passed, I basically leapfrog over where he was, because I want to see what the water has done to the sitting room. I want to see if it's any clearer, if I can see any more what's actually causing that.
Yeah, you leap over him, splashing through the water, the already spongy carpet, and make your way towards the sitting room. As you do so, you just hear coughing and sputtering out of smoke that seems to be coming nowhere. Xena, covered in black soot, face marred like they were in an actual house fire. Xena stumbles out towards you, and she looks like she just survived a house fire, essentially.
Well, that was a cheap set of fucking cliches.
All right, got one more for you. Shall we see if we can get out?
Yeah.
Isn't that the final cliche?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? So
No, the final
let me-
cliche is we escape, but we haven't actually escaped.
Yeah.
Well, let's get this straight. You look like you walked out of a house fire, so I'm assuming whatever happened to you involves fire.
Arson is a fun game for 5s and ups.
Clint, I'm assuming you almost drowned?
Whoever said there was no utilities and plumbing coming to this house can eat it.
It wasn't
Enzo,
your mind, dude.
Enzo, what happened to
watch the
you?
beside of
I
it.
actually don't know.
Something was here, serving up what looked to be a dinner party of human parts, and there were blood bags in the refrigerator.
Xena puts up her hand. I had cannibalism too. Do we get something if we fill out the bingo card?
And
Or we
I
click
got
Google review?
the basement full of bugs.
Yeah, I can see that. I had witches, but cliche old witches. I wanted sexy young witches because a girl needs something to aspire to.
Reed thunks Xena backside of the head with that comment. This isn't an anime, Xena.
Don't watch that shit.
I'm going to start making my way towards the front door.
You guys are at it. It's right between those
Oh.
two rooms. That's what Clint crashed into.
Okay, got it. Can I open it?
You open the door.
Okay.
Opens just fine.
What do I see on the other side of it?
The front lawn.
Okay.
Weed whacked as normal. As normal as Clint weed whacked the front lawn. It looks as just the way you left it.
Have we actually
Strangely-
solved anything?
Strangely, Xena, Clint, and
No.
Reed know that the door was kicked in off its hinges, so the fact
Yeah.
that it's there at all is weird, but
The house is alive and it feeds on fear. A little bit like the Red Dwarf episodes. Emo Hulk Polymorph 1, Emo Hulk Polymorph 2.
Okay. I understood about a third of that.
It's like a genetically mutated beast that feeds on people's fears. But unfortunately, I still think we got them. It's like it
Clint's
hasn't
already
removed us of
racing out the
fear.
door, and heading for the gate.
Apparently, you can only drown him once.
And he's pulling out he's pulling out an asthma inhaler and
Perfect.
Well, burn it down.
I'm assuming Enzo, you're going to say yes to that.
The what? Burning the house down?
Well,
What I just said was not yet. And I'm taking my knife and I'm heading for the basement.
Okay. You're headed for the basement. Clint runs out of the place. Reed and Zeta, what are you doing?
Xena's going to get a wet wipe and join him so he's not on his own.
Okay. And Reed?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll go make sure Clint's okay.
Okay. You head out towards the asthmatic Boy Scout to assist him and make sure he doesn't die of an anaphylactic shock.
Reed goes off the property to his Jeep, and in his back he's got a bunch of like camping supplies and outdoor stuff, and among that is towels. And he's going to get a towel to Clint.
Perfect. So we have an aftercare moment with Reed and Clint making sure that he survives the day. Xena and Enzo head towards the basement. Enzo, you have your knife in hand, and you are headed towards the basement door. You moments ago saw that Reed was leaning against the door, having reported that he had just come from there. However, as you now stand in front of it, you realize that that's impossible, because there is a latch on the door and a lock, locking it closed. In fact, as you walk over this way, you realize that there is a distinctly less spongy carpet, and there is no water dripping from above, and you realize that you no longer seem to need your handkerchief because there is, nor never was, any smoke in this house.
Is Xena's makeup now returned to being perfect?
No, you look like you just survived a house fire.
Great! Girl can't catch a break.
Is Xena? Are the two of us still together?
Yep.
Excellent.
Xena might be a few feet away, but
yeah.
you're in the hallway.
Yeah, we are not in different dimensions of the house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't there before.
Pick it.
It's a slide latch.
It's a one of those like open like the close over with a like a padlock through it. Not a padlock, but a key lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the way you'd lock up an abandoned house normally so that people wouldn't fall down the stairs.
All right. You know how to pick a lock?
I don't usually lose my keys, but you know, you can use any piece of old metal to unlock a 66.
Right. I will go into the kitchen, find something metal and bar-like.
Sure. Roll me a force.
1.
One success. You pop this lock open. You remove the lock from the thing. You open the door, and you see a 15-foot drop into what used to be a basement. You see that at the bottom of that 15-foot drop is a dilapidated, rotten staircase that seems to have come loose and fallen to the floor.
Well, looks like the rest of the house ages, just not ground on the first floor.
Is there any light or sound or anything other than what one would expect from an empty, mildewy basement?
There's no unexpected sounds. You have the sounds of an ancient house creaking around you and any sounds the two of you are producing.
Okay. And, you know, the unearthly pulsing of an alien heart.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
As expected, right?
Yeah. An Edgardian heart just under a floorboard. Yeah.
Don't find the heart, the telly heart.
Yeah.
That's where this thing's center is. Can
Yeah.
can I do any kind of you know, can I have a can I roll something to have like a gut feeling dealing with the fact that, I've been hunting monsters for a year now? Um Something that I can, figure out, you know, if the basement is the place to go and it's like protecting itself, or if these are just random events.
Yeah, roll me comprehend. One success.
Yes.
You don't think that the house itself has a beating heart, as it were.
Okay.
But if your line of thought is that this is an evil house, the house itself is evil. It's not like there's a basement thing.
Okay.
Your jokes aside, the thought of burning it down, if it can be burnt down, strikes you as not the worst idea. However, there just seems to be a house fire that it put out itself, so you're not sure if that's a viable option.
I figure what Reed's penis extension's got a winch on it. We rip it off by the footings.
I've heard worse ideas. All right, let's bail.
You guys,
I don't think an old Jeep Wrangler is actually
how much
enough
torque
to
does
do
it have
that.
to rip
Yeah.
a house off its fittings?
not that much. So the four of you exit the house, and looking back, the door is closed behind you, regardless of whether you did or not. And the house looks undisturbed, as if you had never gone in at all. As Xena and Enzo, you head down to Reed and Clint, as Reed is sort of toweling him off, and Clint is hugging his inhaler. The four of you have rejoined, and you can see that despite only having been weed whacked mere minutes ago, the grass is already growing back to where it was. What are the four of you doing as we wrap this one shot?
I mean, I'll make an episode about it. Try and warn people off, but I'm not sure it'll do much good.
I am going to find something that I can light on fire and use as a torch to try to set the house on fire.
Sure, yeah. You know from Clint there is a work shed in the back of one of the houses. You assume there's a small can of gasoline, or worst case scenario, there's a little propane tank down there that you can sort of stab a hole in and explode that.
Molotov cocktail that bitch.
Yeah, so you do so. You make a makeshift Molotov, get close enough to launch this through one of the windows. And much like Reed had seen before, you launch this thing through the window, and as soon as it passes that barrier of darkness, it disappears. You all wait a few minutes, and perhaps it's a slow burning fire, but you never see smoke come out of the windows. And what happened? What's that?
How many realities does it have to burn down?
That's true. And whatever happened to that canister, unless you head back inside, you may never know.
Yep. Well,
Having come face to face with the haunted house of 237 Whispering Pine Lane and made it out alive, unlike so many before you, the four of you head into the Jeep and head home to your various domiciles. Later that night, whether you are watching it, a parent is watching it, or you just pass by the room, you hear, "Good evening, this is Sarah Thompson reporting live from New England local news. We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you a worrying development from our local community. Last seen near the local park at approximately 4:30 p.m. tonight. 4-year-old Jamie, 9-year-old Jamie Peterson has been reported missing. Local authorities have launched an immediate investigation but are thus far baffled by the disappearance. Jamie was last seen wearing a blue hoodie with the logo of a popular children's show, black jeans and white sneakers. He stands about 4 feet tall, his brown hair and blue eyes. Authorities are urging residents to review any security footage they may have from the time of the disappearance. The police have not ruled out foul play and are looking into every avenue, including an unsettling rumor of strange activities near 237 Whispering Pine Lane. Patrols have been increased around local schools, parks, and neighborhoods while the investigation continues. Local authorities urge anyone with information to come forward immediately. Police Chief Williams has issued a statement saying, "Time is of the essence. Every second counts in cases like these. We are doing everything in our power to find Jamie and bring him home safely." And that is the end of this one-shot. Project Babysitter, titled Shadowplay.
Nice.
Da, 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 da. There we go. So, hey guys, this is a proof of concept for a TTRPG that I have been musing about. It sort of combines some of the rules of Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood, and Vesson into a the adults don't believe me, but I've seen weird monsters, and monsters are real, and only I can defeat them kind of thing. So, if you think this is a cool concept for a tabletop game and you want to see more of this, just harass me on social media and motivate me to actually write it. Obviously, today we used the rules from Tales from the Loop, but I will be making a custom set of Year Zero rules for this, where you play teens who have all encountered some sort of mysterious evil and are now combating it in their spare time. So, again, if you guys like that, the best place to let us know where that is over in our Discord. Link for that down below. Hit me up on social medias and let me know about it. And what you should do if you like the shit we do here and want to give me more time to actually create stuff is do what these fine folks did and join us over on our Patreon. Link for that also down below. That's going to be our only one-shot today. Unfortunately, some important stuff has come up, and I have to reschedule the next one, but I will be rescheduling that one. So until then, let's go around, do our stars, and do our outroductions, so we can get the hell out of here, and I can go rescue my girlfriend. We'll start with El Profo. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I'm El Profo. I'm in the process of finishing a Glenbrook trilogy. It could be more. It could be far more. You guys know me. So that will be up soon. Maybe even sooner than A Winter Whispers Part 2. Because it is cursed.
It's true.
Perfect. Otherwise, I'm on the Discord doing Profo things where Profos are found.
Hell yeah. Snow Dogs, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I'm Normal Snow. You can generally find me on the Patreon campaign and one-shots and in the Discord.
Perfect. Trevor, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Hello, I am Trevor, aka the Vitruvian Meeple. You can find me on Mike's Discord, the Cypher Unlimited Discord, the Cypher Foundry VTT Discord. You can find me on my own channel on YouTube, where every Monday night we play Cypher System superheroes using the expansion called Claim the Sky. The campaign is called The Powers That Be. It's a lot of fun. Other than that, I just hit me up any of those places and let me know what you want to talk about.
Hell freaking yeah. And last but not least, Matt, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I'm Matt Ord, and you'll find me on Mike's Discord, and you'll find me at the Patreon campaign and one-shots as well, along with Snow Dogs.
Perfect. And that concludes this one shot. Unfortunately, we are not going to do an after show for this. Things have come up. So if you like this show, let us know in the Discord. And if you're not a member of the Discord, join it. And perhaps these lovely folks will do their stars and wishes in the Discord in my absence. But for now, that's it from all of us to you guys. We will see you next time for more of these one shots. So from all of us to you, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.